Hi, Phyllis here from southernfrugal.com. Today we're going to have sort of a vegetarian meal for lunch, and I'm going to fix some, we'll call them fried biscuits. They're really kind of deep fried biscuits. So first thing I'm going to do is heat my oil up. You're going to need about a ½ inch of just vegetable oil in a sort of a heavy saucepan. I mean, if you've got a cast iron skillet, that would work best. Now, I've got cast iron skillets, but I can't really use them on my cooktop. So I'm using one of the Gordon Ramsay skillets. It's got a pretty thick bottom on it. All right, now, this is really, really simple. This is 2 cups of flour. Now, I sifted the flour before I measured it. So that's 2 cups that has already been sifted and then measured, all-purpose flour. To this, I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of baking powder, 2 teaspoons of sugar, and 1 teaspoon of just regular salt. All right, so I'm going to mix those up a little bit together, and the salt and the sugar will kind of get any lumps out of the baking powder. Just kind of mix them up together. All right, that looks like it's good enough. Going to just sprinkle that in. Mix it up with the whisk. Now this is very, very simple bread, but it's just very good, just super good in fact. Now to this, I'm going to add 1 cup of water, and it looks like I'm a little over on the water. So just 1 even cup of water, and the amount of water you need really depends on your flour, because some flour soaks up more water than other flour does. But we're going to start out with 1 cup. And just pour it right in the middle and start mixing it up. And this is going to be sort of a runny batter, really, is what you're looking for. And I can tell I'm going to need a little more water. Maybe another 1/4 cup, or a little less than another 1/4 of a cup, because you want the batter to be runny, not as runny as pancake batter, but almost. All right, now my oil is good and hot now. I'm going to turn it down to just really a notch above medium, because you want your oil good and hot, probably about 375 degrees at least, kind of like you would fry donuts. That's the consistency you want. You want it to be able to drop off the spoon. You need just a soup spoon would probably be what works best. You don't want a big, great big spoon. See how it drops off? All right, now I'm going to just test this grease and make sure it's hot enough. So I'm just going to drop one in. I mean, it should sizzle and come to the surface just immediately. That way you know your grease is hot enough. You want to have a plate with a lot of paper towels away from it. And it only takes these just a very short length of time to cook. All right, so we are ready to start dropping these in the grease now. Let me get up closer so you can see. There we go. That ought to work. Right there. All right, so you want your grease, just make sure your grease is hot enough, because if it's not, you'll end up with little biscuits that are greasy. All right, so I'm going to take a spoonful, drop it in. And I can cook about 4 at one time in this skillet. soon as you can tell they've gotten a little bit brown, you want to flip them over. I'm going to take out those little extra ones. So you want them to get a little bit brown on one side before you flip them over. Now flipping them over, I try to use 2 forks to do that so it doesn't splash the grease out. Like that. Really, they only probably have to cook maybe a minute or so. All right, we're going to flip them over now. They are so, so good. They're great just to put a little butter, split them open, put a little butter in the middle of them, and a little, we like to use strawberry jam or honey. And when we're eating them just for a regular meal, of course, we don't even put any butter in them. We just eat them with, like today, we're going to have them just with a vegetable meal of fried okra, field peas, and cabbage. You just want to make sure they get good and brown. Now, the wetness of the batter causes them to not be so greasy. And also the heat of the oil. If the oil, gets too not hot enough, they'll definitely be greasy. All right, let's take a look at that one. I'll cook it just a little bit longer. See how nicely they rise up? They are so, so good. That little crunchiness on the outside, and then it's like a light and airy on the inside. You want to put them on paper towels immediately when you take them out, and that way the paper towels will soak up the grease. All right, I think we're ready. They're very light and airy. All right, this is what I do. I just take another paper towel, just kind of dab them on the top, like that. Get some of the grease off the top. Just let them sit here for a while and cool, because of course they'd be way too hot to eat. Now let's go ahead and do another batch. All right. Let it just roll off the spoon right into the grease. And they should float. And this is almost like a tempura little coating like you would put on fish to deep fry them, like the fish restaurants do. It's real similar to that. And again, you want to make sure they're going to float. And usually, depending on your size skillet, that only takes about a ½ inch of oil. Okay. And I try to get the little jiggles out of there, because they will actually burn after a while. So I try to get those out as I'm going along. Alright, these are ready to flip over now. I think I've lost my other fork. Oh, there it is. Alright, just kind of hold them with one fork and then flip them with the other. And these are cooking a little faster than the first batch did. And again, there are no eggs, no milk, nothing, just the flour, water, baking soda, salt, and sugar. That's it. Real simple, but they are very, very tasty. Get another paper towel to dab the top of these off. All right, these are ready. Now I'm going to dab these off. Let me show you around. With the paper towel just on top. Soak up some of the grease. Now a lot of it, of course, is going to go in the paper towel on the bottom. All right, we're ready for our next group to go in. And I think that my skillet's getting a little bit hot, so I'm going to turn it down one notch. This time I think I might try to cook 5. I was able to get 5 in this time. In other words, they really only have to cook maybe about a minute on each side. Yep. So ready to flip. All right, we're coming right along with these. And again, the way we like them is to just get them split open using a fork and just put honey, put a little butter, and then a little honey, or in our case, we like the strawberry jam on them. Alright, so this group is done. Drain those on the paper towel. And a wet batter really leaves the grease that's in your pan pretty clean, because none of that flour, seeps off. Alright, so I'm just going to dab those with a paper towel on the top. Get those little jiggles out. And we're ready for our last batch. This looks like it's going to be 3, maybe 4. And this does go really quick once you get going with it. All right, that's it. These are good too. More crunchies. Alright, ready to flip. And you want to flip them away from you, or really using 2 forks so it doesn't, the grease doesn't splash back on you. My daddy used to fix these, only he'd fix one big one in the middle. And we had a gas stove, and they would always kind of get too burnt right in the middle of them, and us kids didn't like them that much. We'd rather have had my mother's biscuits, but sometimes when he cooked, he fixed this type of a little biscuit, and he would just make it bigger in the skillet and then cut it for us. Again, we like my mother's cooking better. Alright, we are just about done. Those little jiggles are very good. They're real crunchy. And again, this is very much like a batter that you would put on fish when you were deep frying it. It's very light and airy and crispy on the outside. Okay, I'm going to need some more paper towels. Alright, we're ready. I'm going to slip my skillet off the burner. Go ahead and cut it off. Set it back here out of the way. Dab off these last 5. Get my paper towels out of the way. Here they are. They are so, so good. I'm going to open up one if I can find one that's not real hot. Here's one. There's what they look like. Almost like an English muffin on the inside. Just put a little butter in there, put some jam in there, flip it back on. So, so good. See? They are delicious. Alright, I hope you'll try these. Now, here's my suggestion. If you are older like we are, you really don't want to eat these at night. You want to eat them for your meal in the middle of the day or for breakfast, because they've definitely got some oil in them. Alright, that's it. I'm going to take a picture of these just like that for the thumbnail. Alright, we'll see you next time.